This module will introduce you to the new Performance Measures entry system for eGrants. The system is still under construction, so the appearance may change slightly by the time the system is available for use. CMTS plans to make the Performance Measures system available on September 14th. Please do not submit your application until after you have entered your performance measures and work plans using the new system. Until then, you will be able to complete all of the application except for the work plan section. You should also use the performance measures worksheets included in the application instructions to help you prepare. Having those worksheets completed will make entering your work plans easier once the system is live. To begin, click on the work plan link on the left side of the page, and then on the link that appears in the center of your page. At this point, you may have to maximize your screen by clicking the small box in the upper right-hand corner. The first time you enter the Performance Measures module, you will see an empty table toward the bottom of the page. After you have entered work plans and you return to this screen, you will see summaries of your work plans in this table. Also notice the scrollable sidebar on the left side of the page. It will include some basic instructions to help guide you as you enter your performance measures. Click on the button that says Begin to start the process. On the Objective tab, you will select all the strategic objectives that apply to your project's application. You may select as many objectives as you like, but you will be required to enter performance measures for each objective that you select. After you have selected all of the objectives, select your primary focus area. The primary focus area is the focus area in which you will place at least 25% of your unduplicated volunteers. The list in the drop-down menu is populated based on the objectives you selected. In this case, since I only selected objectives in the Healthy Futures focus area, Healthy Futures is my only option for my primary focus area. On this tab, you may also select Capacity Building and other community priorities if you intend to place volunteers and activities in those areas. However, capacity building and other community priorities are not focus areas, and so they cannot be selected as your primary focus area. Once you have selected your primary focus area, click Next to continue. The Performance Measures tab is where you will build your work plans. First, select the category title that you would like to work on. You will have three choices: your primary focus area, other focus areas, or community priorities. Next, select the objective. The list of objectives is populated based on your previous entries, so only the objectives you selected on the Objectives tab will appear as options. In the Community Need text box, provide a description of the need your volunteers will address. Then select an output. The list of outputs is tied to the objective that you selected. For a complete list of objectives and their corresponding outputs, please refer to NOFO Appendix B. Next, select an instrument from the drop-down menu and provide a brief description. Select an outcome if you will report one in this set of work plans. If not, you will simply select No Outcome. Select an outcome instrument and provide a brief description. Next, you will select your service activities. You may select as many service activities as you like, but each service activity will generate a separate work plan using the output and outcome combination. In many cases, volunteers perform more than one activity. Keep in mind that the unit of measure for RSVP work plans is unduplicated volunteers. Therefore, you should choose the activity from the list that most accurately captures the impact that the volunteers and project have in your community. Once you have selected all the service activities that apply, click Add PM. You will see that a row has been created in the table at the top of the page that summarizes your performance measures. In this case, I selected two service activities, so this row will generate 2 work plans. Continue this process until you have added performance measures for each objective that you selected. Notice that in this case, the output that I selected does not have any corresponding outcomes. Therefore, I do not have the option of selecting an outcome. Once you have selected performance measures for all of your objectives, click Next to continue to the Targets tab. On the Targets tab, you will allocate volunteers to work plans and set output and outcome targets for all of your performance measures. The first step is to indicate the total number of unduplicated volunteers you plan to have in your project. Notice that after I enter that number, the table at the top becomes a calculator that tells me how close I am to meeting the requirements of the NOFO. Please note that the 30% minimum listed in the primary focus area has changed and has not yet been updated in the system. The new requirement is that you place 25% of your unduplicated volunteers in your primary focus area. The percentage for community priorities has also changed. Rather than 25% maximum, you will be able to place a maximum of 30% of your volunteers in the community priorities. Both of those fields will be updated by the time the system goes live. In the summary table, you will enter your output target, outcome target, number of unduplicated volunteers, total number of volunteers contributing, and number of volunteer stations. One important feature on this page is in the output and outcome columns. If you scroll over and point your cursor to the shorthand that's used for the output and outcomes, you will be provided with the full text of the measures. Once you have completed all the fields, click Review Allocations to make sure you have met all of the allocation rules. Then click Next to continue to the next tab. On the Summary tab, you can see the way you allocated your volunteers by focus area, by objective, by category title, and by work plans that result or do not result in outcomes. You can also see a summary of each work plan that you have entered, print a PDF of each individual work plan, or print a PDF for all of your work plans. To complete your performance measures, click on Validate Performance Measures, and the system will tell you whether or not you have satisfied all the rules that apply. You may now exit the Performance Measures section and return to the application. That concludes this tutorial. I hope you have found this introduction helpful.